doing a cozy hobby vlog today. So if cozy grandma hobbies are your cup of tea, stick around. I have some fun, cozy things I plan to do today. So my husband and I own a company together, so I get to work from home and make my own schedule. In between all of my work, I love to do my favorite cozy hobbies. Today, I have something very fun on the calendar. My best friend Faith and I have a scheduled hangout. She lives in New York City, actually. That's where I got the sweatshirt. She lives in New York and we grew up together. We went to middle school together and we're still best friends to this day. Okay, picture this. The year is 2013, all right? Are you with me? A new game just dropped. The game, Minecraft. We were in 7th grade when we started playing Minecraft together, and that has been a huge thing we've bonded over. So our virtual bestie date is playing Minecraft together. We are working on a castle. So we put that on our calendar because we are two busy women now. So we are going to play Minecraft for an hour or so this morning. So you'll come along with me for that. We are going to get up to some fun, cozy things. We're just going to see where the mood takes us, but I am feeling very cozy and festive for Christmas. So right now I am going to do the most important thing that I do every day, which is spend time with the Lord. I have this Bible bag that I actually painted. This is where I keep all of my Bible supplies. When I do my Bible studies, I always love to start with journaling. I do something called morning pages. Morning pages is where you spend time dedicated every morning to just journaling your thoughts. It's supposed to really help with your creative process. And for me, I find that it really helps me process different things that are going on in my head. My brain can get like really messy. Hello. And I also love to prayer journal. So I like to write down my prayers. And one thing I love about doing that is that I can look back at years of prayers that have been answered by the Lord in many different ways. He always hears your prayers, even when they aren't answered immediately or when they're not answered in the way that you would most expect. And then I will spend time reading my Bible. This is the ESV Study Bible, which is my favorite. It's very chunky. The reason that I love the ESV Study Bible is each page has two things that I use all the time. It has references to other verses that will expound upon whatever the verse is talking about. It will reference you to verses that have prophesied about that before or spoken about that subject. So a lot of times when Jesus is speaking in the gospel, you'll be referenced back to Jeremiah or Isaiah. And the other thing I really love is at the bottom of every single page, there's a ton of notes that will really dive into what each verse is. It's broken up verse by verse. So when I read a verse and I think any questions that I might have, where was that? Why did they say that? What is the theme that's going on right here? It will break that down further and it'll give other references in the word that will help illuminate that concept more. And I personally love to color code my highlighting. I added a little color guide here and I've broken up each color of my highlighters into a different theme. I really want to pay special attention to prophecies of Jesus in the Old Testament and his fulfillment of those prophecies, because that is a theme in the Bible that helps to really ground my faith. That color is purple because Jesus is the king, and like green is commands, blue are God's promises, yellow is evil, dark blue is prayers. So I like to color code my highlighting and it's a way that I can actively read. I talked about this in my last cozy vlog with my commonplace book and with reading, but when I spend time actively reading, I will have a way better chance of remembering what I'm reading. So it keeps me engaged. It's like when you took English Lit in high school and you were supposed to highlight and take notes and use sticky notes and then you discussed it afterwards. I try to take those practices into my Bible time so that I'm getting the most out of my time. So that's what I'm gonna do first, and then I think I'm gonna go down, make a matcha, and play Minecraft. So that sounds like a perfect morning. I don't know, could it get better than that? I don't know if it could get better than that. All right, come join me on my cozy day. John 14. I love this part of the day because this is my fun drink time. Sometimes I'll make a matcha, sometimes it's a hot matcha, sometimes it's an iced matcha, sometimes it's a hot cup of tea, a pot of tea. Today it's a shaken espresso, and I'm going to be using instant espresso because my espresso machine is so big and I live in a small cottage, so it doesn't really fit in my cottage size kitchen. So I love to be able to put this espresso powder in my shelf and close the door and not see it. I'm certainly not a coffee snob, but I like good coffee, and I think this tastes just fine. And I have a secret weapon, which is my collagen. It's chocolate collagen, and it gives it like a chocolate milk base, like Dutch Bros chocolate milk coffee vibes. It's so good, and it adds protein, and collagen is always a good idea. So this is like my afternoon snack. So let's make my fun drink. It's gonna start with a mason jar that you can put a lid on, 2 teaspoons of espresso powder, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of chocolate collagen. A heaping tablespoon. The thing about instant espresso is that it gets extremely frothy, so unless you're making this in a giant mason jar, which I am not, I'm making it in a, what is this, a pint? 12-ounce mason jar. And I'm gonna add a splash of milk. Remember, you're not gonna be adding any more milk, it's gonna be too frothy, so you have to add everything you want right now. Okay, I think since I was making it on camera, I got a little too excited, I had too much in here. So everything I said about the big mason jar, I take it back. I'm gonna be shaking it in the big one and then putting it back in the small one. There we go. Now 1 ice shaken espresso for you. One thing I love about using the collagen is it naturally sweetens it, because I think there's stevia in here. I don't have to add a million things. Okay, that works. Let's make some type of I need to go butcher a chicken.
Why do you need to butcher it?
How else am I gonna get the egg? Oh,
They lay them.
yeah. I need to go get a chicken. How do you get a chicken to follow you?
The lead.
Oh, a chicken gets on a lead?
You could grab anything with a lead.
How unrealistic. All right, we are back in the kitchen. I've got some ginger chicken noodle soup cooking on the stove, getting prepped for dinner. I'll probably eat it for lunch too. It is so chilly in here. We haven't turned our heater on because it just feels like it's supposed to warm up a little bit this week, so we're just waiting until it officially gets cold and stays cold. But chicken noodle soup is the perfect thing to make for when it feels too cold outside. I'm thinking about dinner for tonight for when Joey gets home from work, and that it would be really nice if we had some type of bread to go along with our dinner. So I'm going to be making a sourdough discard cheddar biscuit. I'm imagining it's going to be kind of like the Red Lobster biscuits, the cheddar biscuits, but this is going to be sourdough, so it's going to be a little bit more healthy on the gut. It's not a long fermented recipe. Obviously that's ideal, but I did not prepare with enough time for that. So I'm just going to be doing a quicker version. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, I have my chicken noodle soup for lunch, but I also have my biscuits here and I wanted to give them a taste test with you. I ended up using this as my seasoning from Trader Joe's. It's the ranch seasoning blend. Here's the biscuit. It is a cheddar sourdough biscuit and it honestly looks perfect. 360. Let's see if we get the Paul Hollywood handshake. Okay. Steamy. It's literally straight out of the oven. You're supposed to let baked goods like this sit for a minute because they continue cooking, but I want to try it with you and I want to eat my soup. Okay, this is really good. The topping worked out great. I can taste the dill and the texture inside is perfect. It's very flaky somehow still. And it's not too greasy. I love the swim biscuits, but those can be a lot of butter. This isn't quite as much. And they're very crispy, flaky, just as good as the Red Lobster ones, if not better. Sourdough, so they have some gut benefits. And this was from Farmhouse on Boone. So I'll link the recipe below. I really liked it. Time to eat my soup. All right, I'm back in my chair, which can only mean one thing: more reading. And I'm picking up this tome today. It is the collected works of Edgar Allan Poe. And you know what you gotta do when you have a hardcover book. Step number 1. Gotta take the sleeve off. I always read Poe this time of year. I find it extremely nostalgic and atmospheric, and Poe is one of my favorite short story authors. In high school, we read Edgar Allan Poe in the fall. This is the perfect thing to read when you don't have a ton of time because you can either read a few poems or you can read a short story. So today we are going to read Fall of the House of Usher. I know I've read this at some point, but I don't remember how it goes. I'll let you know my thoughts, and I hope it's a mystery. I love when he does a mystery. Of course, an unreliable narrator is also fun. And I've got my cup of tea, and if you have not read Edgar Allan Poe, I highly recommend it. I would probably suggest The Black Cat first, or The Telltale Heart. Those are some of the most popular short stories that he has, and both are a great example of a thriller, what a modern thriller is based off of. So grab your cup of tea. A lot of his work is just online on Google. So I'd suggest picking up a little short story and let's read together. During the whole of a dull, dark, and soundless day in the autumn of the year, when the clouds hung oppressively low in the heavens, I had been passing alone on horseback through a singularly dreary tract of country, and at length found myself, as the shades of the evening drew on, within view of the melancholy house of Usher. Okay, I am a few paragraphs into this short story, and I know kind of the setup now, so I can share that with you if you're interested in reading it as well. We're following our main character who's approaching the house of Usher on horseback, and it's an extremely gloomy and dark autumn day. And the house is giving haunted house vibes. And our main character received a letter from a friend from his childhood asking that he come visit him in his sickness. So his childhood friend is sick, and his request is that our main character visit him at the House of Usher. Good start. I finished The Fall of the House of Usher. I did find this particular one to be a little bit more challenging in terms of comprehension, which is maybe why I had forgotten the plot previously. My favorite part of this story is the character of the house, of course. It's like a very classic haunted house, gothic. I could really envision that. I found it really interesting that the sickness, the maladies of Usher, Vincent Usher, I think, I found it interesting that his sickness was a mental illness, and it makes sense that at the time there would be no diagnosis for this. You'll see what that means if you decide to read it. Not as super beginner friendly as some of his others, but it was a really good one, and I had fun reading it. So daylight savings just passed yesterday, which means it's getting dark very, very early. So it's about 7 p.m. right now, and it feels like wind down time, but it's still early enough that I can get up to some cozy hobbies. I don't have to go right to my nighttime routine. So I'm in the mood to watercolor. So I got cozy at my desk, and I got a cup of sleepy time tea, and I'm going to pick out something to paint from my Victoria magazine. One of my hobbies is collecting physical media, and one physical media that I love to collect are magazines. So the magazine I've been subscribed to for probably 2 years now is Victoria magazine. This to me is so classic. It's just so 90s to have magazines throughout your house. It's such a lost art for most people. Not lost to everybody, not lost to Victoria Mag. So this is their fall edition, and it's a double feature. And I'm gonna choose one of the most gorgeous pictures in here that I'm going to paint. There are so many visuals in here that I just love. Most of the magazine is about fine china, food, hosting, beautiful nature, scenes, traveling around Europe and North America. So I'm going to peek through this and choose something that I want to paint. I'm going to watercolor, and why don't you join me? I finished my sweet little watercolor for the evening. I ended up going with a swan. This was in the magazine, and I loved the colors, how it was the water was so dark and green, sort of that lake pond color, and how the bird was so striking and bright. I was really nervous about the reflections because honestly, I don't paint water very often at all, and I think it turned out good for a quick little painting. I really like doing some of my practice paintings on this watercolor paper from a watercolor block. First of all, the paper is really nice quality, and I soaked and saturated this paper with water, and it's not bent or warped pretty much at all. It comes in a block like this, and you just use your palette knife to scrape the top piece off. I love to have a little stockpile of watercolor paintings like this to give as a card, kind of like a postcard. So for Christmas, I can write my Merry Christmas message, stick it in an envelope, or wrap it up in some beautiful paper, and it's a lovely addition to a present. I love homemade presents, and I have a whole tradition of doing a big Christmas cookie box, and I usually make everybody beeswax candles. So to have those three elements in a gift is really special. I love the handmade touch. So I can imagine who I'm going to give this one to. It's somebody who loves birds and somebody that I love. So that's my little painting for the evening.
And it hums something like this. Hum dum dum diddy dum, hum dum dum. Oh, the wind is lashing lustily, and the trees are thrashing thrustily, and the leaves are rustling.